Have you swallowed that gut-wrenching pain when his words cut deep, yet smiled anyway? Ladies, I've been there, manipulated, broken, wondering if I deserved better. These 5 deadly phrases expose men who'll destroy you. Stay until the end for the one power move that changed everything for me and will for you too.
Before we dive into these toxic phrases, let's understand what's really happening when a man tries to manipulate you. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung talked about something called the shadow self, the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge. When someone hasn't done the inner work to face their shadows, they project them onto others, especially their partners. This is where manipulation begins. It's not just about controlling you, it's about avoiding their own growth, their own pain, their own responsibility. And here's what's truly dangerous. These phrases don't sound alarming at first. They're wrapped in language that makes you feel like you're the problem. They chip away at your confidence so slowly that by the time you realize what's happening, you've already lost pieces of yourself. As women, we're often socialized to accommodate, to understand, to give second chances. But your intuition, that voice inside warning you something isn't right, is your most powerful guide. So let's unmask these 5 phrases for what they really are. Warning signs that this man isn't capable of a healthy relationship. The first phrase might sound innocent, even philosophical. You have to accept me as I am. On the surface, it speaks to authenticity, something we all value. But context matters. When does he say this? Is it when you've expressed concern about hurtful behavior? Is it after he's broken a promise? Is it his response when you ask for more emotional support? If so, this isn't about authenticity. It's about avoiding accountability. True acceptance doesn't mean tolerating behavior that hurts you. A man who genuinely cares about your well-being will listen when something he does causes you pain. He might not agree, but he'll try to understand. The man who hides behind "accept me as I am" is telling you something critical. He has no intention of growing. He's comfortable in his patterns, even if they hurt you. Jung believed that the purpose of life is growth and integration of all parts of ourselves, especially the difficult parts. Someone who refuses this journey will never be a true partner. Ask yourself, do you want a relationship where only you adapt, only you compromise, only you grow? Because that's exactly what he's setting up when he uses this phrase. Remember, ladies, accepting someone's essence doesn't mean accepting poor treatment. You deserve a man who sees relationships as mutual growth opportunities, not preservation of his comfort at your expense. Let's talk about a phrase that should immediately make you pause. All my exes were crazy, or my exes were all toxic. I want you to think about something. What's the common denominator in all his relationships? Him. When a man tells you every single woman he's dated was problematic, he's revealing his inability to self-reflect. Either he consistently chooses unstable partners, which speaks to his own issues, or more likely, he's rewriting history to protect his ego. This is what Jung called projection, attributing our own unacknowledged traits to others. The man who claims all his exes were crazy is often projecting his own emotional instability, his own toxic behaviors. Even more telling is what this means for your future. If he's never taken responsibility for his role in past relationship failures, what makes you think he'll take responsibility with you? Next time he launches into stories about his psycho ex, pay attention to the details. Does he mention any of his mistakes? Does he show any understanding of the relationship dynamics? Or is he purely a victim in every scenario? A mature man can acknowledge, we brought out the worst in each other, or I wasn't ready for that relationship, or even we wanted different things. The absence of this self-awareness isn't just a red flag. It's a crystal ball showing you exactly how he'll talk about you someday. The third phrase is the most emotionally manipulative of all. If you really loved me, you would. This statement weaponizes your love. It uses your affection as leverage to control your behavior. Whether he's asking you to change your appearance, distance yourself from friends, or compromise your boundaries in any way, when he attaches it to "if you loved me," he's engaging in emotional blackmail. Love should never be conditional on you diminishing yourself. True love expands you. It doesn't shrink you. Whether he's asking you to change your appearance, distance yourself from friends, or compromise your boundaries in any way, when he attaches it to "if you loved me," he's engaging in emotional blackmail. Love should never be conditional on you diminishing yourself. True love expands you. It doesn't shrink you. What's particularly insidious about this phrase is how it shifts responsibility. Suddenly, your hesitation isn't about his unreasonable request. It's about your inadequate love. This reversal leaves many women questioning their own hearts rather than questioning his demands. Over time, giving in to this manipulation creates a dangerous pattern. You'll continually sacrifice more of yourself to prove your love, while he'll demand increasingly more control. Ask yourself, does someone who truly values you need to leverage your emotions to get what they want? A secure partner makes requests without manipulation, respects your decisions, and doesn't make you feel guilty for having boundaries. Your love isn't something to be proven through compliance. It's something to be cherished through respect. The fourth toxic phrase cuts straight to the heart. You're not enough for me. Sometimes it's stated directly. Often it's implied through comparisons. My ex was better at this, or other women do this for their partners. This phrase isn't just cruel, it's calculated. It creates an impossible standard that keeps you striving, insecure, and dependent on his approval. Here's what Jung would say. When someone consistently makes you feel inadequate, they're projecting their own deep-seated feelings of insufficiency onto you. The man who says you're not enough is really expressing his own fear that he isn't enough. But understanding the psychology doesn't make it less damaging. Each time you hear this message, it chips away at your self-worth, creating wounds that can last long after the relationship ends. The truth is, you are already enough. You always have been. The right partner doesn't demand you become more. He recognizes and celebrates who you already are while supporting your natural evolution. Think about it. Would you tell someone you love that they aren't enough? Would you deliberately make them feel small? Of course not, because that's not love. If he can't see your worth, it's not because you lack value. It's because he lacks vision, and you deserve someone who sees you clearly. Our final red flag phrase might not be said explicitly, but it's implied in his behavior. You should know what I want without me having to tell you. This passive-aggressive expectation sets up an impossible dynamic where you're constantly guessing, constantly anxious, constantly trying to read his mind. When he sighs heavily instead of communicating, when he gives you the silent treatment, when he says it's fine, but clearly it's not, he's playing a game you can never win. Healthy communication is direct and clear. It doesn't require you to be a mind reader or emotional detective. The man who expects you to anticipate his needs without him expressing them is avoiding vulnerability. He wants the comfort of being understood without the risk of asking for what he needs. This behavior creates a relationship filled with walking on eggshells, where you're constantly worried about misinterpreting him or missing some unspoken cue. Even worse, when you inevitably fail to read his mind correctly, he uses it as evidence that you don't care enough or pay enough attention, adding guilt to your already heavy emotional load. Remember, you are not responsible for decoding someone's silence. A worthy partner uses his words, respects your need for clarity, and doesn't punish you for not being psychic. Now, as promised, here's the power move that changes everything. Walking away with dignity and without explanation. When you hear these phrases, you don't need to debate them. You don't need to prove them wrong. You don't need to help him understand why they're harmful. The most powerful response is to trust yourself enough to leave. This isn't about being cold or unforgiving. It's about recognizing that some patterns indicate a fundamental lack of respect and emotional maturity that no amount of love can fix. Your power move is prioritizing your peace over potential. It's understanding that the right relationship won't require you to compromise your self-respect. Ladies, you cannot heal someone who uses their wounds to hurt you. You cannot love someone into treating you better. You cannot communicate clearly enough to fix someone who doesn't want to understand. The most revolutionary act of self-love is walking away from relationships that diminish you, even when walking away hurts. Because on the other side of that pain is the space for someone who speaks to you with respect, who takes responsibility for their actions, who communicates clearly, who sees your magnificence, and who grows alongside you. You deserve nothing less. If this video resonated with you, please share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Remember, we rise by lifting each other up. Until next time, protect your heart, honor your intuition, and never settle for words that make you smaller.